I told them all to go to hell. I called in every maester on this side of the world, every healer, every apothecary. They stopped the disease and saved your life. Because you did not belong across the world with the bloody stone man. You were the Princess Shireen of House Baratheon. And you are my daughter.
Hey guys, what is up? Niyat here with Film Comics Explained, and today we'll be taking a look at the Greyscale virus, as featured in the incredible Game of Thrones books and TV series. I'm slightly hungover, recovering from a wedding party, so please excuse any slurs in speech. Now, Prince Garen's curse, or more commonly known as Greyscale, is a terrifying and often fatal infectious disease that rots the flesh, and makes the skin become cracked and stone-like to touch. It is essentially a contagious disease that is capable of spreading through physical contact between people, or objects that have been infected with the disease. It begins with visible changes in the skin at the site of contact, before proceeding to take over the body if left unchecked. As the surface of an infected person's skin begins to harden and calcify, the movement of people's bodies makes the hardened tissue split into cracks. This was noticeable in both Shireen Baratheon and Jorah Mormont. As the stages become more severe, the skin begins to look more like scales, and the flesh becomes greyish black as it begins to die, giving the appearance of grayscales, from which we get the name. The disease begins by causing the skin to become thick, with rashes that spread over time, before ultimately covering the whole body. What we noticed with Jorah was, as the disease progresses, the thick scales become scabs with pus underneath, which I think is an indication that the body's immune system is trying to fight the disease. Greyscale is notorious for taking its time before killing its victims, preferring to slowly cover the skin of its victims from head to toe, leaving them in a state of perpetual agony. The stone men that attacked Jorah and Tyrion were essentially victims of Greyscale in its later stages, who lived in misery as outcasts. Now, Prince Garen's curse is relatively uncommon in Westeros, although there are a few cases of infection that do tend to pop up from time to time in the Seven Kingdoms. The disease tends to be more common in the Free Cities and parts of Essos. The stone men that were mentioned earlier are essentially infected people that have been banished to the ruins of Valyria as a means of quarantine. It's explained that before Greyscale completely covers a victim's skin, it begins infecting the body's internal organs, hardening over time, as it does with the outer skin. When it finally spreads to the brain, this often results in the loss of sanity. In the mind-blowing Season 7, Jorah, who was infected with Greyscale, is informed by the Archmaester at the Citadel that he could live 10 to 20 years with the disease, but would likely lose his mind in 6 months, if not sooner. In that same episode, Jorah encounters Samwell Tarly at the Citadel. Determined to save the man's life, Sam goes against the orders of those above him and retrieves books reserved for higher maesters, and ultimately discovers a cure to the infectious disease. Risking his future, Sam begins the painful task of cutting off Jorah's infected skin and then placing a herbal ointment cover on the open wounds. Although the procedure was very painful and there was essentially a slim chance of success, miraculously, Sam was able to cure Jorah of his Greyscale.
I owe my life, her, and you.
Your father saved me more than once. It's the least I could do.
Another notable survivor of the disease was Shireen Baratheon, the daughter and only child of Stannis Baratheon and Selyse. Stannis explains that his daughter had contracted Greyscale as an infant from an infected doll that he had bought from a passing merchant ship. Although everyone had assured him his daughter would soon die from the disease, and tried to encourage him to send her to Valyria to live amongst the stone men, Stannis ignored their counsel and brought every maester and healer he could find on both sides of the narrow sea to try and save her. A combination of medication and treatment that she received was ultimately able to cure her, but the damage to her face would remain permanent. In both these cases, it is clear that the key to stopping the disease from spreading was immediate treatment. Jules Lipoff, an assistant professor of clinical dermatology and a keen Game of Thrones enthusiast, was able to surmise that based on the information given to us about Greyscale from the books and TV series, it would be similar to an insidious infection that is most likely caused by a smallpox or HPV-like virus, which are all easily transmitted through physical contact. Well, that's all folks. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video on the Greyscale virus. If there are any other topics within the Game of Thrones universe you would like me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like and to subscribe to stay up to date on all my content. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.